Hey Canucks fans, the Canucks released their preseason schedule for the 2022-2023 season. Let's look at the dates, the opponents, and anything else we might want to keep our eye on. I'm Canuck Clay, and this is my Canucks Take all in one take. It's Clay's Canucks commentary for Tuesday, July the 5th. If you're new, here's what you should do. Hit the subscribe button now for daily Canucks insight that's positive, timely, and trustworthy. And don't forget, tonight, 10 p.m., Parker and me, Canucks After Dark, moved one day this week because we both had hockey games yesterday. Okay, I know it's early. I know we're still 2.5 months ahead, but the Canucks did release their preseason schedule for this upcoming season. And, you know, I'm a little bit intrigued by who they're playing, where they're playing them, when they're playing, and also recognizing kind of some other nuances, like this is going to be Bruce Boudreau's first full training camp. But let's get to those nuances and stories in a second. Let's get to the actual dates and opponents. So they start off after their training camp. They start off on Sunday, September the 25th. They're playing a split squad. So half the team will go to Calgary to play there, and the other half will play here at Rogers Arena. So that's games 1 and 2 basically on Sunday night, September the 25th. Then on Thursday night, September the 29th, they're at home hosting the Seattle Kraken. And then 2 days later, on Saturday, October the 1st, they are in Seattle at Climate Pledge Arena to play the Seattle Kraken there. So that's games 3 and 4. Games 5 and 6 are Edmonton home and home. Monday, October the 3rd in Edmonton. And then Wednesday, October the 5th at the Abbotsford Center. So similar to last season, one of their preseason games will be at Abbotsford. And then finally, they end off their preseason schedule Friday, October the 7th, hosting the Arizona Coyotes. So we won't get a chance to see their massive 3,000 or 4,000 seat arena at Arizona State University. That is game at Rogers Arena. So to recap, 3 games at Rogers plus 1 game at Abbotsford Center. So technically 4 home games, 3 away games. 2 games against Calgary, including the split squad, 2 games against Seattle, 2 games against Edmonton, and 1 game against Arizona. Now that sounds familiar. It's because it's kind of familiar. It's a pretty similar schedule to last year, where we indeed had 2 games against Seattle, 2 games against Calgary, 2 games against Edmonton, and our 7th game was actually game number 4, and it was actually hosting Winnipeg as opposed to Arizona. So the only change in terms of opponents and number of games is Winnipeg is out, and Arizona is in. And a very similar schedule. There are no split squad games last year. But for all intents and purposes, the Canucks treated a couple of them like split squad games because you want to get as many, obviously, players as you can into the lineup. So once again, 2 against Edmonton, 2 against Calgary, 2 against Seattle. It makes sense, the 3 teams that are closest to us. And this year we have a 1 game hosting Arizona, where last year it was 1 game hosting Winnipeg. So no big surprise on the opponents at all. I guess let's get into what we can expect. Well, this year it is Bruce Boudreau's full team from training camp, which is kind of exciting. We know that he came in the first week of December last season. We know how well he did with the roster he was given and how they came up just short of their push for the playoffs. But now he's got a full training camp. He's got a full preseason schedule, and he'll have the full 82-game season. And that's kind of what Rutherford and Alvin were referring to when they said they're not going to extend Boudreau past the season. They want to see how he does with a full season, and that makes a lot of sense to me. Now, what can we expect when in terms of Canucks players? Well, there's going to be a lot of intrigue around Andrei Kuzmenko, obviously, and I think he'll be the most highly touted free agent that the Canucks sign, unless they go out and get a Philip Forsberg, but we'll see what happens with that. We don't know if JT Miller's going to be here, but another change is we'll have Quinn Hughes and Elias Pettersson here for the entire preseason, as opposed to just 1 or 2 games. We know that they missed the first 5 games last year, and they only played the final 2 preseason games, and maybe that sort of contributed to at least a slow start for Petey. I guess we'll never know. You guys might remember Jack Rathbone played in all 7 preseason games last year. He had a goal and assist. He looked really good, actually. He looked at home. So I was at least kind of surprised and a tiny bit disappointed, admittedly, when he was sent down after just 9 or 10 pro games last season. But I guess the Canucks felt they had enough depth, and they felt they would it would be serving better playing every single night in Abbotsford as opposed to being a healthy scratch quite often up here in Vancouver. So that's the first thing I noticed from last year. Jack Rathbone he played in all 7 games. Second, you might remember, was Vasily Podkolzin. He played in 6 games, no points, and he was a -5. So I think some people were a little bit worried. In fact, I see some old tweets where people kind of making fun of Podkolzin, but I think those people would be eating their words right now, given how good of a rookie campaign that Podkolzin has. So Rathbone played 7 games, Podkolzin played 6 games, and then a whackload of players played 5 of the 7 exhibition games. So Nick Petan, JT Miller, Niels Hoglander, Matthew Highmore, Connor Garland, Phil DiGiuseppe, Kyle Burrows, Will Lockwood, Justin Dowling. They all played 5 games apiece. So JT Miller makes sense. Niels Hoglander makes sense. Highmore makes sense. Connor Garland makes sense, especially his first look with his new team. Then you had DiGiuseppe, who I was surprised did not make the team out of training camp. You also had Nick Petan playing 5 games, who also didn't make the team out of training camp. And I remember back in the exhibition, I was thinking that Petan would be a great player in the bottom 6, but instead I was surprised when Alex Chason instead made the team out of camp. Now, Chason played in 4 games, exhibition games, had 2 assists, but obviously he did enough to impress Travis Green and the brass back then. By the way, Chason had 2 points in 4 games. Nick Petan had 4 points in 5 games. He was actually our leading scorer in the preseason, along with JT Miller with 4 points in 5 games. That's why I was surprised that Petan did not start with the big club, but Alex Chason did. A couple other interesting stats as I look at last year. Hughes had 2 points in 2 games. Again, he only played the 2. Horvat had 3 points in 4. And then Jonah Gadjevich had 2 points in 2 games, but he was obviously traded soon afterwards. Or no, wait, was he left exposed? I can't even remember. No, Colin got no, that's 2 years ago. Never mind. Gadjevich did get traded early on in the year. Ekman Larsson played 4 games as well as he got his first look with his new club. So this year, I think all eyes will be on Kuzmenko. Will guys like Klimovich and other of the young guys get another chance to show what they can do in training camp and exhibition? We shall see. Also, I think it'll be interesting to see how much Rathbone plays in the preseason, especially because I peg him as a 3rd pairing starter with Travis Dermott. Then we see how Tucker Pullman's doing from his recovering from injuries, and a bunch of other depth players, including new signees in Linus Karlsson, Neil Zaman, those kind of guys. We'll see, Oman, I should say. We'll see how much work they get. And it's always interesting to see the goalie split as well. Does Demko play of the 7 games? Maybe plays the final 2. I'm sure you're going to see Spencer Martin in there, and then some combination of Silovs, DiPietro, and another veteran Canuck goaltender. So a lot of things to look forward to. I can't believe I'm talking about it 2.5 months before it's going to happen. But hey, the Canucks released their preseason schedule, so I thought, why not break it down and at least give it some love, give it some attention, even though it's only July the 5th. So Canucks fans, let me know your thoughts on the preseason schedule, whether you can talk about the opponents, the dates, or maybe any players that you're looking forward to seeing. Mine's Kuzmenko, obviously, but I also get we have 2.5 months to talk about this as well. Shout out to my sponsors, Perform and Transform, personal training and weight loss at Advanced City Experts Real Estate Group. And thank you to legendary Lucas Gates, legendary Justin Credible, legendary Andrew Chang, and to Hall of Fame members and franchise members as well. As always, subscribe if you'd like to, like this video if you'd like to, leave a tip or super thanks if you'd like to, become a member or upgrade your membership if you'd like to, and leave a comment down below if you'd like to. Any thoughts, preliminary thoughts on the release of the Canucks preseason schedule.